I just finished watching the 2022 Tour de France route presentation, July 1st to the 24th. Starts in Copenhagen, ends in Paris as it always does, and this is the furthest north the Tour de France has ever begun. And it's an interesting route. Starts and ends with time trials. 13-kilometer time trial up there in Copenhagen when the race gets going next summer. 3 stages up in Denmark. Then we're back down into France. We got a stage out there, Dunkirk to Calais. Then we're over towards Lille, where I just was last week for Paris-Roubaix. We're finishing in Arenberg. Yes, Arenberg, the area famous for its coal mines and those nasty cobblestone sectors. 19.4 kilometers in total of cobblestone sectors in this stage. We got 11 sectors on the menu for the Tour de France next year. 5 of those sectors have never been used by the Tour de France before. Remember, it's been 4 years since we last been to this area when John Degenkolb won a very cool stage up there in northern France. The 2022 Tour de France features 4 mountain ranges: the Vosges, the Jura, the Alps, and the Pyrenees. We go into the Vosges mountains on stage 7 up to Planche de Belleville. This is the first big summit finish of next year's Tour de France. You'll know Planche de Belleville. We've been there many times. Tadej Pogačar will be happy because in 2020, in the time trial, he upset Primož Roglič for the eventual overall win that day. But next year, it's different. We're going up to the Super Planche de Belleville. This was only used once before, back in 2019. Remember, Dylan Teuns took on Giulio Ciccone. Teuns got the stage win, Ciccone the yellow jersey. We have another summit finish, a small summit finish up to Châtel-les-Portes du Soleil before the Tour de France's rest day in the Alps. Now in the Alps, we have some beautiful and some big stages on tap. The Col de Grenon, only the second time the Tour has used this summit finish. The first time was back in 1986 when Greg LeMond took the yellow jersey up at 2,400 meters altitude. This is the Tour's second highest summit finish stage after they used the Col du Galibier years ago. Now on this stage, with the Telegraph, with the Galibier, before the summit finish, it's 4,000 meters of climbing. It's gonna be a big day. And the next day, another big day, the Alpe d'Huez, the famous Alpe d'Huez. We have 4,750 meters of climbing on tap. And back here in 1986, it was Greg LeMond still in the yellow jersey, finishing hand in hand with his teammate Bernard Hinault. And the 2022 stage is an exact replica of that stage. Now, we last came to the Alpe d'Huez back in 2018 when Geraint Thomas stamped his authority on the race before going on to win the eventual overall in Paris. Now we have a few different transfer stages heading over to Carcassonne for the race's rest day near the Pyrenees. The last time we were in Carcassonne was only last year when Mark Cavendish sprinted to 34 stage victories in the Tour de France, equaling Eddie Merckx's record. But after that, we're getting into the Pyrenees in 2 big back-to-back Pyrenean stages. Stages 17, stages 18, the Périgueux and Hautacam. Now the Périgueux airport runway up top was made famous by the James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies. It was on that stage back a few years ago where we saw Chris Froome struggle against Fabio Aru. We're going back up there. 3,300 meters of climbing, a little aperitif, a starter before the next day, 4,000 meters of climbing up to the Hautacam. Now overall, I think this is a balanced Tour de France. We have 3,300 kilometers of racing on tap for the 2022 route. We have 6 mountain stages, 5 flat stages. We're visiting 4 different countries, 4 different mountain ranges. Oh, and did I mention there's plenty of time trialing to balance it out? Besides that 13-kilometer opener in Copenhagen, we have that 40-kilometer final stage 20 time trial before we head up onto Paris and that likely sprint finish on the Champs-Élysées. Now the 109th Tour de France turns right over to the women's Tour de France. The same day as the men finish in Paris, the women's Tour de France takes off underneath the Eiffel Tower. They race for 8 stages, finishing with the Super Planche de Belleville on July 31st. It made for a big day of presentations today in Paris by the boss, Christian Prudhomme, and the Tour de France.